Welcome, traveler. Get ready to level up in fantasy football.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Fantasy Football RPG Podcast, the greatest fantasy football podcast in the greatest sports program in the world. The Fantasy Football RPG Podcast, back with you another week. Excited to be here again. I am, of course, Corey, otherwise known as Bittner Steel on Sleeper, joined, as always, with Mike Cash, FF Mike Cash on on Twitter, on X. Hi, Mike.
Hey, I love that we had one listener, and then that one listener heard you call us the greatest show ever, and they left. So shout out to whoever that was.
Well,
hope you love
they
the
obviously
show.
left to go grab they left to go grab more of their friends to
Yes.
have a watch party, because
Yeah.
this is what's happening.
Or did
As voted on by Cmon, the number one podcast in the world.
Yes. Skymall had us there, ranked number one in their last issue. Eric chimed in a little early, didn't intro you yet, Eric, but go ahead and say hello to the 0 listeners now.
How rude.
0 listeners. We can jump in whenever then. Hello. How's everybody doing?
Scrumptious.
And scrumptious is a word that you're using today. That's fun. With us also is Evan. Hi, Evan.
Evening, everybody.
Glad you guys can join us tonight. The OG RPG boys back in the saddle. We're going to get into some trade talk tonight, guys. After we get into some news and some notes and some other words that are in base, but not a bad word. Obviously, we wouldn't say any bad words to start with. Then, so let's go ahead and start rolling here. But I did have a question right off the top here, because we're a Dynasty podcast. I want to know from each of you, what is the Dynasty 101 breakfast food? And I want to go ahead and start with Mike. Now, this is Dynasty Mike, so you're going to have this breakfast food for years to come.
We got to talk about longevity. We got to talk about health of the program. We got to talk about cornerstone pieces. When we talk about that, you need something safe and reliable. I'm talking about pancakes. That is the 101 of breakfast foods, because there's a lot of different ways you can church them up. If you got to rebuild and you got to take some time, plain pancakes are just fine. But if you're ready to push all the chips in, chocolate chips on top, pancakes 101. Evan, what you got?
If we're going with whole groupings here, can I take cereal? The versatility, of this, man. There's so many options. You can do so many different things with it. All you need is a good RB2 in milk, and we're golden.
A good RB2 and milk.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. Cereal. Yeah, that's you guys both picked very manipulable options. Like you can mess with those in certain ways. Obviously, Evan, you got the brands, and Mike, you got all the toppings. Eric, take it home, man. What do you got?
Give me some good eggs Benedict with the hollandaise sauce and some bacon on it, and I'm in. So that's
a whole ass
number
meal.
one
That's not a one food.
That is. I love it. He knows what he wants, man. I'm not a huge holidays guy personally, but I respect
Benedict, though.
I respect the hustle. Okay. I mean, I'm just gonna take bacon, I guess, because no one took it. I'm just gonna take bacon because, again, I think it's pretty versatile. You can have I don't know if you guys ever do the brown sugar cumin bacon. You can get a little sweet action in there, or you can just do it with a little bit of black pepper, man, and put that next to any food. And it'll make any food A tier. It doesn't matter what it's next to. If there's bacon there, boom.
Here's my question, though. The health benefit downside, does that make it the 101 still?
Ooh.
I mean, that's like being too small for the quarterback position.
I think it does, because it just gets me closer to the grave, and that's win-win for me. But no, I hear you. Yeah, bacon can leave you a little bit with that high sodium, that high cholesterol. But you know what? I think it's worth it, man. It's too good.
When
Like
you
I'm
add
never
in
saying no to bacon.
the existential dread, it just gets so much better.
So yeah, that's the first thing I think of when I have some bacon. I'm like, well, at least my time on
Oh,
Earth is
man.
shortened.
Well, anyway, welcome to
Anyway.
thanks for tuning in, everybody.
I didn't think that segment was going to get so dark, but here we are.
All
Leave it to Evan to to bring up the fact that it's
Uh.
eating bacon is going to shorten your lifespan. But anyway,
Look, I just like bringing up the downsides and people's options, you know?
that is fair. You are that's a negotiating tactic, right? Which I'm sure will be useful when we negotiate some live trade talk here on the podcast a little later. But first and foremost, guys, let's go over some of the big news and big topics happening around the NFL right now. First and foremost, just wanted to give a brief check-in to these rookie quarterbacks, see where we're at on these guys. We have the I think CJ Stroud being kind of the guy on top right now. I think Anthony Richardson is directly behind him, but CJ Stroud is throwing like a maniac. And I think maybe the discrepancy for me putting him on top is that, I mean, we knew that Anthony Richardson was going to get done on the ground. I think we were all a little bit concerned about the weaponry in Houston, and that does not seem to be a concern for CJ Stroud. He is wheeling and dealing, and he's only going to get better. That is to say, of course, Anthony Richardson, in my opinion, is right below him and also has a chance to overtake him. As long as he can stay healthy, which he finished his first full game last week, everyone. Like, let's give a quick congrats to my man AR, staying healthy for an entire game. Looking pretty good doing it. He had that 360 slam dunk touchdown celebration that is absolute pure fire. And then you got Bryce Young. He's way. You got to look for him. So you can't really see him all the way down there. Yeah, not looking good for Bryce Young. He just looks to me when I watch him stiff and not able to really get away as much as I think he did in college. And the Panthers just as a whole aren't really doing him a lot of favors. But where are you guys at? I mean, Mike, victory lap for AR real quick. You want to sound off?
That's my victory lap sounding through. Evan's making faces, but stoked about Anthony Richardson. I'm going to eat a lot of crow. I didn't think CJ Stroud would be able to do what he's doing. So I personally have them flip-flopped because I'd rather have the week winning Anthony Richardson than the longevity of a quarterback 1.5. But I understand having him the other way around.
Really, I think that has to – oh, go ahead.
I was going to say the only wrong answer is Bryce Young right now. And the Panthers have said they're looking to trade for a wide receiver 1, who they're going to be able to trade for without having a first-round pick next year or any young talent they're willing to give up. It's not looking great for them. So maybe they can get something done with T. Higgins type, Jamison Williams, someone like that. But I think Bryce is stuck with Adam Thielen, wide receiver 1. And that's
we should get into that. I'll add that as a topic, just in terms of the Panthers coming out and saying that they are looking for that wide receiver 1. But before we get off the topic, I want to bring it to Evan, who I'm sure is even doubly more victory lapping based on his Anthony Richardson takes from the months prior to the draft. Even Evan, feeling pretty good where you're at. You are also making faces at me saying CJ Stroud over Anthony Richardson right now. Do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, Richardson's doing exactly what we expected with his ground game. You look at what he's been doing in rushing, you look at what he's been producing the 2 full weeks. I mean, we're talking 2 back-to-back. That's spooky. Corey's holding up a little ghost mug right now, so scaring me. I'm not a fan of ghosts here.
Got some mulled cider, some homemade mulled cider in that thing.
But back to the important stuff, fantasy football here. Anthony Richardson, when he's played a full or most of a full game, he has been a top 5 quarterback both times, the 2 times that he's done it.
He's also QB4 and the QB2.
Yeah.
Not just like barely top 5. Like
No. Legitimately top 5. And I trust Shane Steichen to be able to develop him better than I trust the Texans coaching staff to be able to continue to develop and make CJ Stroud continuously a top 10 quarterback.
Okay. Yeah, I feel I think it just goes back to maybe some bias for me having CJ Stroud as my QB1 pre-draft. And also, I think I'm just still kind of incredulous at what he's doing with his supposed lack of weaponry. But those are finishes for Anthony Richardson. So I do see your point.
I would also like to pose a challenge here to the four of us to post our redoing the draft for this past year, how we would do the rookies, and let the RPG Nation decide on the Discord who has the best top 12.
Like retroactively draft them?
Yeah, so we're gonna all put our top 12 as they are right now.
Yeah. Anthony Richardson 101. Always was.
Yeah, for me as well. Talking like dynasty and fantasy football, Anthony Richardson was always my number one. But I guess I should have specified in like NFL terms, CJ Stroud was my QB1. But Anthony Richardson was always dynasty 101 for me. It's actually kind of interesting you mentioned that. I want to go back and see my rankings because I don't know if they really change a ton. I had guys like Devon Achane pretty high. I had QJ pretty low, but it would be interesting to go back and look. All that to say, we've not heard from one person here on this rookie QB topic. And Eric, how you doing, man? Where you at? Bryce Young lover, Anthony Richardson hater. How you feeling?
The wise words of our birthday boy, shoot or shoot. I took my shot and I missed. I bricked it. But I will. The mic is back, Evan. So this might sound weird though, but I even knew with my big AR take that I knew I could be way, way, way wrong on AR, and him being this awesome and completing these passes is great. But I knew there was a world with AR that I could be wrong. I think I'm more surprised how good CJ Stroud has looked, because I think what I thought Bryce Young was going to come in and do is what CJ Stroud is doing. And maybe that's just my Michigan bias, because the two games that I saw Stroud play against Michigan, the tougher the game got and the longer it went, the worse he looked. And I didn't think he had the mental makeup at least this point. And so far as pure passing and as being an NFL quarterback, he's looked like the best. But as the fantasy quarterback, obviously it's been AR as the best. And Bryce Young, I think we have to start asking the question, is it too soon to start asking, is he fit to play at this level in the NFL? Like, he looks really, really bad, and I don't know how it gets better.
I think it is a little early to be saying that. And listen, I was one of the biggest Bryce Young haters. I didn't think it was going to transition well. But to write him off after the first month in a system that he doesn't have anybody to throw to, like his best receiver is either Adam Thielen or Jonathan Mingo, who we knew needed to take a year to develop.
Yep.
Like,
I would go as far as saying like judging him within the first season is probably can't.
Too much.
We probably have to wait and see in next season.
Yeah, he's got a bad team around him too. So I'm not willing to write him off, but I'm just very shocked that it's looked this bad. Yeah. And like you said, they're trying to trade for a wide receiver one that could definitely help him. You know who would have been great? DJ Moore. But they decided to ship him off to the Bears, who aren't using him either. So that's great.
The Panthers trade has grown into them trading away Caleb Williams, if the pick stays where it is, DJ Moore, Jalen Carter, and 2 seconds for Bryce Young.
Yeah, that's big. That's a big whip. But going back, I want to touch on what something that Eric said about the mental acuity for CJ Stroud. It's funny you say that, because that was what was pushing him down in the actual NFL draft and in fantasy drafts for that matter. If you did any pre-NFL draft, was this mental acuity thing? The fact that his like S2 cognitive score was like supposedly leaked and was not good. I almost feel like that was psyops by the Texans. Does anyone else feel that way? That the story was almost kind of leaked by Texans to push him down so that the Panthers traded everything away, not for CJ Stroud, so the Texans could scoop him up? Because it kind of feels that way. I don't know. Maybe that's just the skeptic in me. But okay. Yep, that's a good recap for them. We have a couple other stories to get to here. The biggest like news item I would say is Jonathan Taylor. He can come back this week. Whether he does is the question. And I guess I want to know how we're feeling with JT. Do we think he is going to come back? Because last time I read anything about it, it was that he still doesn't want to play for the Colts. They can keep him on PUP, I think, or maybe it moves to IR if they don't elevate him. Or they have 21 days, right?
He's 3 weeks until he has to be active on a roster and take snaps.
So I guess we'll just go quickly around the horn here, starting with Mike. I mean, I guess play for the Colts or get traded or no play.
I think he's going to play. At the end of the day, he's a competitor. You don't make it to that level of performance without having an itch to play football. If I am sitting on the sidelines watching Anthony Richardson play and like lead my team and look like the real deal, that does count for something. I wouldn't want to play if it was Matt Ryan. I wouldn't want to play if it's Zach Wilson. But the way that the team is moving and rallying around, I would want to play. So I think JT's going to play.
Seems like several games, if JT was playing, the Colts could have probably won the game.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
Running backs don't matter until it's only like a 7-yard difference for the game.
Yeah. And it's one of the most like talented running backs in the league in Jonathan Taylor. Okay. What about you, Evan? Play, trade, or do they keep him out?
Yeah, I think he ends up playing. I don't think they keep him out. I think he makes a bid to be able to get back in and remind people why he still is one of the best running backs in all of football.
Okay. And Eric, what do you think?
I'm kind of on the side with these guys here. I don't think he wants to lose out on money either by sitting out. And I think he comes back and he plays. And I think he stays on the Colts the rest of the year because Jim Irsay, I don't think he's going to back down off of what he wants. I don't think anybody in the right mind is going to trade that for him.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Real quick, Corey. Do you think he only plays 6 games and then mysteriously has an injury that occurs?
That is interesting to note. I mean, we have to remember here, didn't he have surgery in like January?
On the ankle?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
So, you know, that's not to say that it's going to be like a lingering thing. I think it could be, but also it could give him a little more, I don't know, leeway to be like, you know what, this ankle just still ain't right. So yeah, put me back on IR after 6 games.
Would you guys trade for Jonathan Taylor if you're going for it this year?
No,
I don't know if I would.
I think there are better RBs to add.
I think it depends on the price.
Scary.
Is the manager panicking? Are we talking like one late first? I'd think about it. We talking multiple firsts? Probably not.
I don't think at this point I would trade more than a second.
Yeah, then you're not getting him, right? Like you're just holding at that point.
So that's why I'm not going to end up trading for him.
Evan, you seem like you have something you wanted to say.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think that anybody's going to be able to get 2 firsts for JT at this point. I think there's way too much panic over what's going on, way too much speculation about it. So the real question is, can you get him for 2 seconds? And would you do that instead of going after a Kamara for maybe a second and a third? Or those 2 seconds? Well, I mean, we just saw how many targets Kamara got.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the, I don't know if he broke the record, but I think it was close, or he broke some record where it was like lowest yardage for amount of receptions in a game.
I have this. So of the receivers that have 13 receptions or more, the lowest yardage that had ever been recorded was 70 yards. Kamara cut that in half and then lowered another 2 yards. So he had 13 receptions for 33 yards, setting a new record, which is not the kind of record you want to have.
So Derek Carr, I think along with Joe Burrow, probably just both need to sit out a few games to get healthy because it does not look good for either of those offenses. But I'm with you for what Evan's saying. Like I'm with you. I would rather be adding a Kamara for cheaper on a competing team than going after JT, unless the JT owner is just full send panic mode. Okay, I like the Mike Zimmerman comes in here though. The Rams trade, that would be wild. Kyron Williams stands are just in shambles. Okay, Well, let's keep going. There's another guy that seems like he's going to make his return to the NFL after getting his suspension reduced for gambling. The NFL has corrected the punishment length. In my opinion, at least, I think it makes a little more sense given the context. And Jameson Williams should be making his return here. At least he's eligible to. I don't know if he's going to be. Do you guys think? I guess this is the question. Do you guys think that he's going to be a right off the bat contributor to the offense? Is he going to be out of the gate flying, or do we think he's going to be sort of eased in? And here's a follow-up question: do we think he's going to be more or less valuable or contributing as Jahmyr Gibbs is currently?
Well, that is a loaded question because Gibbs is just getting rocked.
Loaded questions, baby. That's it. That's the way.
In Dynasty, where we have, 4 receivers, 3 flexes, a super flex, and a 17th extra position for ungodly reasons, you don't have a better option than Jameson Williams. Like, I'm plugging Logan Thomas into flexes this week because it's bipocalypse. If you've waited this long, you're going to feel really silly if he goes off on your bench. So I think in deep leagues, you're going to have to play him. In shallow leagues, I would love to wait if I'm afforded that opportunity. Not really afforded that opportunity in a lot of them. But Evan, you starting him?
Yeah, so I think he's going to come back, and I think he is going to be relatively healthy. So hopefully he's able to get more than 50% or at least 50% of the snap share. And if he gets 50% of the snap share, I'm looking at him as a guy that they're going to limit his route tree. So if they limit his route tree, give him only a couple routes that he has to really think about, 1 catch, 2 catches, 60 yards, touchdown. I mean, that's a usable week in my opinion, and I think that's well within the range of possibilities.
Yeah, that is what is exciting to me, is the fact that we know Jared Goff can sling it deep when he has protection, and this is what JMO does well, is he field stretches and he takes him down the seam. So if that connection is already sort of established, I mean, they're going against the Panthers, right? I think they lost JC Horn. Is that correct? If that's correct, then even more opportunity, I think, because that's one of their better secondary players. So I'm not really scared of the Panthers in general anyway, but could be a nice little game for JMO. Eric, you feeling like a JMO flex week is in order here, or are you easing it in?
Like Mike said, we're in a lot of these really, really deep starting leagues at a point that you don't really have better options, right? If I have other options, I'm starting somebody else for a little bit. I want to see it first. He hasn't played football in a little while. This Lions team has been clicking with what they're doing. I want to see how he's worked into the offense before I feel good about throwing him into the football game. So I have him in quite a few leagues, and I will not be starting him most likely in any of those leagues unless it's an emergency or, like he said, by apocalypse. But I think in a couple of weeks, I feel like he's going to be a decent contributor and somebody who I would like to have on my fantasy team.
God, you just hope that this is the time in which he puts everything else behind him. He gets on the field, shows why he was taken in the first round, and puts it all together. It would be great to see him out there because he was a special college talent. I really want to see JMO on an NFL field playing the ball. So, okay, let's keep on trucking here. Just have a few things more to mention. Honestly, like, if you guys have any other news stuff that you want to get to, I think I did a kind of a skeleton job on putting this together this week. But the only other things that I really had on here was a quick stinky team check-in. Just calling out some teams that, we might have discussed on our show a couple weeks ago, where we were doing pre-panic button on a few of these teams, but getting more and more evidence that these teams may be in some serious trouble. I'm talking about the New York Giants, who got routed by my Seahawks last night, which was great to see. Kind of a hollow victory, unfortunately, because it felt like it was more Giants bad than Seahawks good. But Devon Witherspoon had a fantastic game, and he's a rookie, so like him getting that experience kind of showed reasons for taking him in that top 5 selection, I think. But yeah, Daniel Jones has not looked good. Play calling has not looked good. Saquon Barkley is obviously a big subtraction to that overall offense. But We also have the Bengals, who I want to just call out real quick that I think all of us were like, not worried. They should correct and be all good. Not looking great, guys. I said it a little while ago, but I think the Bengals might just be better off switching Burrow to IR, getting him healthy. But yeah, okay. Just kind of going through the rest of these teams real quick, and then if any of us want to chime in on any in particular, we can. But obviously, there's the Bears, who, yikes! Good thing we don't have any Bears fans here. But oh my God, I can't believe Justin Fields played that good and did not walk away with a dub. I read a news article that he was catatonic after the game, just sitting there an hour after the game ended in his uniform in the locker room, just completely done. That is sad to hear for the young man who played an awesome game. But going right alongside that is the Broncos, who I keep on here because they almost lost to the Bears. If the Bears just go for that field goal, then they at least tie it up and go to OT. And I don't know. It just they do not look good. The fact that Sean Payton and his Broncos almost lost to the Bears, I think, makes them eligible to be put on here. Obviously, we talked about the Panthers, winless, with no first-round pick next year, in a pretty dire situation if Bryce Young can't correct. The Patriots, who, oh boy, I think we were a little bit up and down with them, but that last game did not look good. Just didn't see, to me, I think that was like a clear depiction of Mac Jones can't hang. And even if he could, they don't really have the weaponry to be competing with the big boy teams. And then we have the Raiders, who without Jimmy G, I know they're starting Aiden O'Connell, but did they look look much worse with Aiden O'Connell than they were with Jimmy G? Because it didn't look that different to me. But let's go around the horn. If there's any of these teams that you want to talk about in particular, Mike, the floor is yours, my friend.
Lucky me, talking about some of the worst teams in football. What exciting.
Yeah.
Thanks for the people
maybe,
out there.
Maybe there's a little glimmer of hope you can shine on one of these teams.
Yeah. Nope. Thinking about it. Really can't. There's
you almost got me on the spit take. That would have been disastrous.
$275 million quarterback that they're playing injured and have no hope. That's the Bengals. You have a dumpster fire of an organization with some weird coaches in the Bears. The one glimmer of hope is the Raiders, who hung with the Chargers, who are notorious for finding ways to try to lose football games.
Yeah.
Shout out Brandon Staley telling his corner to go down when he could have pick sixed it and ended the game.
What is he doing?
Or tell him to go down 40 yards down the field. Don't.
What does he do?
Inside
Okay.
your.
I'm sure you've seen it at this point, like the full clip. He definitely tells him to like get out, and then he's like, "Oh, I don't know." Like he like walks away. He's like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm even saying." Like, what is that?
That is a coach that needs to play more Madden so that he knows how to manage game clock.
Bad.
Brandon
Staley, I'm sorry if you're listening. I know Brandon Staley's probably a listener of the RPG podcast, and
Brandon
I'm sorry if
Staley's
you're listening to this, but
big fan. But no, dude,
out.
I would love to just move on from this entire segment. But Evan, if there's anyone you want to talk about, it's I feel gross. I need a drink. I'm going to be back.
Yeah, I mean
maybe from like a dynasty perspective, Evan.
Well, I was going to say the team that's not on here that you're leaving off is the Cardinals.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So it's the Giants, Bengals, Bears, Broncos, Panthers, Patriots, Raiders, but there's no Cardinals. Surprise win against the Cowboys, or the Cowgirls as I like to call them, and a close game, or at least fighting in their other matchups. Are they not a stinky team? I don't know. They keep finding ways to lose. You know, they somehow lucked into a win. I mean, they're scrappy. They're fighting. You can tell that they're trying to not be awful.
Hey, they got that fire in their gut. How many of those guys took the bus to the? Did you guys see that? Gannon, that speech. How many of them had fire in their gut, though, Evan? That's why they're not a stinky team. They had fire in their gut. They took the bus to work.
I mean, look, usually when you have fire come out your butt, it's stinky. So
we're still talking about bad football teams? Can we not? Can
All
we
right,
just-
all right.
we just
Quickly,
stop?
Eric, is there anything you want to talk about here?
I just want to say that my pre-draft grade that anybody named McCorkle cannot be a good NFL player.
Eric, I can't stress enough how you don't need to lift the mic up. We can hear you just fine, I promise. I know you like looking cool, like some sort of, I don't know, like game show announcer, but it's really not necessary, man. Save your arm strength.
And more on the news at 8.
No.
Oh boy.
Follow us
Okay,
for live
well,
updates.
Yeah, let's move on. Please, God, let's move on.
Wait, can we talk about the
game-
Steelers and how bad their offense is, and how you don't want any offensive
I was
player on the
gonna give-
Steelers for fantasy football?
Oh, Evan, I was gonna give Mike a pass here because it's his birthday. How
Well,
could you
it's not
do this?
currently his birthday. I gave him a
Okay.
pass yesterday.
Okay.
Like yesterday off the air, we spent like 20 minutes talking about how bad they were. But yeah, let's talk about the Steelers real quick. After Mike Tomlin had a press conference saying that there were going to be some serious frickin' changes, they kept Matt Canada. They're practicing in helmets this week. That's their big change. And they moved Gunnar Olszewski behind Calvin Austin on the depth chart. So expect big things out of Pittsburgh in week 5 against Baltimore.
Excuse me, Mike. They also released Des Fitzpatrick, which was like obviously. There you go.
Wait, real quick. Eric, what position does Des Fitzpatrick play?
Strong safety.
That's close-ish.
Sure, that's a guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so the Steelers are a dumpster fire until Matt Canada is gone, and it's not fair to anybody in the offense to evaluate them. If you haven't watched the quarterback school on Pittsburgh week 3, they won that game, and it still looked terrible. They run the same 4 route combinations. They don't know how to run anything in conjunction. They do a sprint out, roll out to their left 4 or 5 times a game, which you don't want to take your right-armed quarterback, sprint him out to the left and give him one option to read, or he has to run against Max Crosby. What in the Kentucky Fried fuck are we doing, people?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, that got you heated. We don't normally
enough.
drop the F-bomb, but we'll
Yeah.
put the E tag
Wait,
on this
yeah.
one. I like that the floodgates are open now. Now all of us can say fuck.
Everyone, get your fuck out.
Do we have something on this pod at one point about all Steelers position players would outperform their ADP in fantasy this year? Or something like
There's still
that?
time. It's only the first month. There's time.
Yeah, there's time.
Jalen Warren's
Matt
crushing
Canada-
his
hey,
ADP.
Look, we all can say right now, right, that this is Matt Canada. Like this is the problem. Like I think Matt Canada and probably secondary is the O-line is not doing a great job, but they fix the offensive coordinator. Maybe the O-line improves. Hey, we're cooking with gas here, but that's the big question: is when/if Matt Canada is going to get fired, and I can't believe he didn't.
Buy some Steelers for 2025. You just wait.
On the cheap, yeah, that's not bad.
Anyway, that's enough Pittsburgh talk.
Let's also remember that
Oh,
that Steelers offensive line has the lowest passing block rating in all of football.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Thank you, PFF.
It is bad. It is stinky bad. But okay, let's give Mike some relief here. I mean, I don't think we even hammered Eric this hard about the Bears. So let's move on. Talking about some game previews for week 5, guys. I think we can basically just pick a game if you guys want to do it like that. I wish we had more time to go through them all, but we clearly don't because we got off on a tangent on bad teams. So let's just pick a game from week 5 and talk about what we're excited to see this coming week. I will go ahead and go first. Tough with no Seahawks on the slate, so I kind of gotta pick a game here. And looking at the slate, it's between 2, but I think I'm gonna lean. I think I'm gonna lean 49ers and Cowboys. I think this is gonna be a fun game. You have 2. Here's the thing that I think is interesting. You on paper have 2 really good defenses, right? But the Cowboys are a big question mark for me. They lost Travion Diggs, and I know that they looked all right against the Patriots, but it's the Patriots. I don't think that was a great test. They've also played the Jets, and that wasn't a great test either, I think. And so to me, it just feels like their defense is not thoroughly tested. And I think the 49ers, with the machine that they have, will be a thorough test. So excited to see if the Cowboys can slow them down at all. And on the other side, I'm excited to see the 49ers. I can't believe I'm even saying that as a Seahawks fan, but I'm excited to see their weapons at work against the Cowboys defense, because they have looked really, really good. Brock Purdy has looked really, really good. Chris McCaffrey is on another planet. But I think that's going to be a really fun game and a prove-it game for these defenses. But yeah, what about you, Mike? What do you got on the slate?
This is going to be gross, but I'm excited to talk about it and to see what happens. The Colts play the Titans.
Yeah. Divisional game.
Both teams are good at stopping the run. Both teams are only good at running the ball. What is going to happen? I think it's going to be cool to see how Anthony Richardson handles a game where they're almost inviting you to pass. And then I think it's going to be interesting to see like what the Titans do. Does D-Hop return to form? Does Ryan Tannehill have a big game? Or is this truly like the Derrick Henry and maybe Tyjae Spears game, and we just have to ignore the rest of the offense for the rest of the year? So if D-Hop doesn't have a big game this week, I'm trying to sell him in every dynasty format I can, just because he's dead to me at that point. But,
yeah, this is it, right? The Colts have, I think, a bottom 3 passing defense.
Oh, yeah. Whether it's on fantasy or PFF or just the eye test, like this team could not stop a sneeze. I don't know what they're doing. So
it's kind of the same on the other side. The Titans are also really, really bad. So maybe a Josh Downs true breakout game. Maybe
Alec Pierce, couple of bombs. That would be great for my best ball teams, but I'm not starting him anyway.
And let's see if JT plays. That'll be a big.
No way he plays this week. 0% chance.
Fair enough.
1% chance.
Evan,
you want to water bet it, Mike?
1 week water. This is an instant water bet.
Ready? So I'm going to be gone. Sorry, RPG Nation, all 7 of you that listen to this. I'll be gone next week. But when I get back, loser takes a shot live on the air.
Yeah. Okay.
Deal.
All right.
Handshake.
What's the bet officially?
Decided.
If JT plays, I'm on no. Evan's on yes.
Get it on the board, Eric. Okay, cool. And Evan, what do you got on the slate that you're excited for?
I'm gonna go with Jags and Bills.
The Bills. The other one I was thinking of.
The Bills have been fantastic at limiting quarterbacks, and there's been questions whether Trevor Lawrence really is the guy. Like, is he the prince that was promised, as Eric loves to say?
Azora High.
And I don't know. I think we're going to see him against an elite defense this week, and we're going to see if he can hold up and be able to put up the numbers that Josh Allen's going to be able to put up.
See, this is the one time I will concur with you guys about the West Coast having not the greatest time zone, because that game is at 6:30 in the morning for me. And that was my decision of not choosing that to talk about, because I will probably not be watching that game, at least not at the start, because 6:30 a.m. I am doing other things up to and including still waking up. But I'm glad you shouted that out, because that should be a great game. Another sort of a good test for both sides. But yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, you got something else?
I was going to say real quick, I just want to know how many punts there's going to be in the Thursday night football game this week.
Oh boy. I mean, yeah, quite a few.
What do we think? I'm talking about more punts plus turnovers or first downs.
Oh, frick.
First downs.
I mean, fuck.
We're on it.
First
Explicit
downs
tag.
First downs.
I'm gonna say turnovers punts. I'm gonna take the turnovers punts.
Water bet?
Yeah, Corey. Let's do it.
We got a couple.
Okay. All right. Handshake.
Yep. Handshake.
You're down there for me.
Oh,
cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Eric, you got that one?
Remind me after my turn here then.
All right, Eric. What game are you excited for?
So I was super excited for Jaguars Bills. Thank you, Evan. But I'm not going to double up. So instead, I'm going to go with Chiefs Vikings. I mean, that game should be 40s for both teams, honestly. There's going to be a lot of scoring. I think Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to want to show they're still a dominant team after they looked against the Jets last week. And the Vikings are just chucking all over the yard right now. And Kirk Cousins continues to put up numbers, and they have to win this game to kind of stay in the hunt here with the Lions for the NFC North. I think you're going to see a lot of points. I think you're going to see a lot of big fantasy weeks. And I think you're going to see Mahomes and Kelsey really put their fingerprint on this game. I think you're going to see huge weeks from Kelsey and Mahomes personally. So I'm excited for that game. It'll just be entertaining to watch. But yeah, I'm also really excited for that Jaguars-Bills game. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, any game that you get to see JJ play, obviously, and it'll be interesting to see the Chiefs try to bounce back from that almost upset loss versus the Jets, which we didn't even really get a good chance to talk about, and we don't have time to do it. But quickly, just like, oh boy, if Zach Wilson could have beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, I mean, I can't even imagine what that would do for, like, does that make Zach Wilson at all desirable in Dynasty? Because I feel like it kind of does if he had beat him, but he didn't. So now he's like still, I think, where he was pre-game. But the fact that he got close, if he would have taken it home, we might have been talking a little bit of Zach Wilson hype on this episode. But
hey, can I make a shout out for a rushing game? The Texans and Falcons. I'm going to say that the Falcons will have more than 250 rushing yards in that game.
200-yard rushers?
I'm going with 250 in that game.
No, I was saying two separate 100-yard rushers between Algier and Bijan.
No, Bijan 250.
Realm of possibilities.
Bijan
setting records.
25 for 250 and 5.
Houston's the worst run defense, and they're also the second worst tackling team in football.
Yeah. No, I buy it.
Does that make Algier interesting as a flex?
Yes.
Okay.
Algier.
Interesting. How do you say it?
Algier.
Algier.
The way it's pronounced.
I thought it was Algier. Because it had like the E-I-E.
No, like, I mean, Friarmouth. That makes sense. No, I see where you're coming from. It's just wrong.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to keep saying it the way I say it. Okay, well, let's get into the main topic here, guys.
It's gonna get toxic in here.
We call it the fantasy trade floor. We are headed down to Dynasty Wall Street here to make some deals. Whether you are buying or selling, we are talking trades, and I guess the idea is we're going to try to get some deals done here tonight, live on the podcast. I don't think any of us have done any amount of diligence in getting any of these sorted out pre-show.
Nope.
So I don't know what this is going to really look like, but we are in a number of leagues together. So I would love to just choose one that most of us or all of us are in.
Legends.
I think that's Legends.
I've already sent each of you a trade.
And I've sent Corey a trade, and I've received one from Mike.
So while Corey takes a minute to review those, I'm going to read. So the idea of the trade floor is that people will normally just say, oh, you should go buy this player. But when you try to buy a player, each league is different, and you need to set expectations of what your league mates are looking for and what you are searching for. So you can never just say, go buy this player. This is their price. So now you'll get to see, I'm going to try to buy this player, but Corey has him. So either he needs to disagree on the value and think that he's cheaper, or he needs to agree on the value and I have to overpay. There's a whole mess of things that'll go on there, and you get to see it live, which is going to stink for us because none of us are that stupid. So we're in trouble.
Yeah, I'm going to set the over under here on half of a trade made, and I'm going under.
We're set at 15 minutes starting now.
Yeah, we got till the 1 hour mark.
All right, cool. Well, let's get rolling then. Corey, let's talk about this.
I just saw your trade. So
Legends,
let's talk about it.
I am a rebuilding team. All right. I'm currently, 1-3? Drafted Justin Fields and Daniel Jones thinking that was going to carry me to the promised land. But I have one juicy piece for a competitor. I have James Conner. James Conner is currently the RB16. That's coming off a bad week against San Francisco, and he gets the Bengals this week. I would like to purchase one T. Higgins. I know that that's not a direct even trade because that would be ridiculous. So what I would like to open, and what I did open the conversation with, I sent Corey James Conner and a 2025 second for T. Higgins. Corey, what you think about my offer? Is it bad, good, ugly?
It's not bad. Certainly not ugly. This wouldn't be a trade that I take straight up. I'd love to keep talking about it more with you because when I think about T. Higgins, how young he is, the fact that he could, end up on a team next season, even where he is the wide receiver 1 for that team. That's the kind of talent I believe T. Higgins to be. For a guy in James Conner who, look, he's performing pretty well thus far, but he is a 28-year-old running back. So that is a tough degradation of age on my team. Meanwhile, looking at my squad, this is a squad that I really built around the Bengals offense. I have Joe Burrow, I have Joe Mixon, and I have T. Higgins. And thus far, as you could probably guess, it's not going great. I think I squeaked out a win, so I am 2-2. So not as bad as it could be. Looking at my team right now that I'm playing with Bipocalypse happening, and I have a lot of missing pieces. So James Conner would be a nice little flex-in piece for me here. But I think value-wise, in a dynasty league, I think I have T. Higgins by a pretty wide margin here. I think I would, for James Conner, I think I would need more like a late first than a second to start considering this with how the longevity for T. Higgins would be, in my opinion. And
so what's unfortunate for us and for this show and for the continuation of this trade talks, I don't have a late first because we only started this league this offseason and it's not going to work out. So if Evan and Eric, you guys want James Conner, let me know. He's available. But full transparency, Eric is 0-4, so he does not want James Conner.
Yeah, Eric wants picks.
I do have an offer for Mr. Mike Cash, though.
Oh, I'm all ears, brother.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
So, and you'll be able to keep your picks with this deal as well.
Ooh.
So, I don't want your
welcome
picks.
To the Shark Tank.
Keep your picks. I am proposing, because I think you are a fan of a Mr. Georgia Bulldog Swift. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Looking great for the Eagles.
He's looking solid.
And I will give you your choice of either Parham, Washington, or Knox for Kyle Pitts.
Can someone else answer for me? Am I crazy to just no? Parham doesn't move the needle for me. So if I'm going to move Kyle Pitts, what I would need back. Let me take a check on my roster real quick. Yeah, I don't have a tight end, but none of those guys are short-term or long-term contributors for me.
Okay.
But Pitts was always a long-term play. So to sell him because 2023 is bad is selling a player with not the expectations that you had in mind. So I will give you, and I'm going to send this on Sleeper right now. So you give me Swift, and how do you feel about Laporta? Let's have that weird conversation. Where's Laporta compared to Pitts to you?
Right now, I have Laporta over Pitts in dynasty value.
Despicable.
Ooh, I'm with Eric.
I agree, even though that makes me sad.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, because that's originally what I was looking at. I was like, oh, do I want to do like a Swift and a Laporta and offer that for Pitts? And I stopped them like, no. If I had Laporta and Pitts, I would rather have Laporta.
Well, it's already tough with this whole arrangement. Mike, I feel like if you're a rebuilding team, Pitts is a guy that you kind of want to keep.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's why I was eyeing his tight ends. So I was like, ooh, let me snag Laporta. But
so
I think
counter.
Okay.
Swift.
Countering your own camp.
One of those three tight ends that I mentioned earlier, and a second for Pitts.
I don't think I can do that, man.
Really? Really?
And this
Wow.
is so. If I'm off base here, Mike, let me know. But I
Yeah.
feel like this almost comes down to the fact that even though Swift is still relatively young, he is more of a competing piece than a rebuild piece.
Yes.
He's still a running back,
That's
and
fair.
his situation is kind of fluid. Like
Mhm.
maybe, dude, there's a chance that Swift is the long-term answer for Philly at RB. I think the chance of that though is much, much slimmer than come next year. He's back into being this like kind of rotational committee running back,
Hold up.
or not even on the team because Philly might not resign him.
Eric, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying you would do Swift, Knox, and your second for Kyle Pitts?
Yeah.
If I let you keep your second,
Mm-hmm.
I was going to throw something on my side and ask for George Pickens, but now I'm realizing I have Deontay Johnson. You know what? Let's do. Can I give you a 2 and you give me a 1, but not your 1?
Can I make this a little more interesting?
For sure.
Mike, I might want to buy Deontay Johnson.
Okay. Send an offer.
I will.
Let's talk about it.
So if that's the case, you would want Pickens, Swift, and a second for Pitts.
Mm-hmm. For a
I
long-term
really like
team,
Pickens.
that's going to put your first in Caleb Williams.
Yep.
As it stands right now, we're in a weird race for him. This would solidify it by hemorrhaging points for you.
No, I agree. I'm just, oh man, the upside of Pitts is so big.
To be fair, both of you are getting beat by Moss right now.
Yeah.
So,
But I also think,
We're what?
didn't Moss just beat me in that league? Or did I just barely squeak out a win?
well, sure, but he has the lowest points, max points for.
Yeah.
So,
By like what, 7 points?
by like 20.
All right, Corey, what you got for DJ?
Well, let's see if we can sort of work out so that you don't have DJ, so you're even more interested in Pickens, right?
Let's do it.
I kind of want to keep on this track of T. Higgins. Are you still interested in maybe putting something together where it's like, I don't know, like a 2-for-1 Deontay Johnson, Terry McLaurin?
That's tough, man, because to me, while they're both aging assets, neither of them
Yeah.
are old enough that they're going to hurt me next year. Like, I'm not looking at the age cliff like they're 30, 31, 32.
Terry McLaurin will be 29 next year.
Okay, that's still pretty good. Stephon Diggs is top 12 right now.
Okay. T.
Um,
Higgins 24. But, all right.
Yeah, but I mean, his
I
quarterback stinks.
will toss you a third.
Oh, come on.
Just a little cute little third.
So here's the other problem. The way that we're talking about this, one of those moves is a complete rebuilding move, and the
Yeah.
other move is a pseudo let me go push the chips in now. So I think what I would like to do, Eric,
Mhm.
let's do, if you're able, Swift, Pickens, and your 2 for Kyle Pitts. Oh,
Gotta
he's
keep my
thinking about
face
it.
neutral.
Oh, he's thinking about it.
If you make that second runner 2-2-1-3 second, I'm done. I'm in.
I tell you what, let's make it a third and give me Dawson Knox too.
Okay, so that would be Pickens, Knox, a third, and Swift for Pitts.
This is the
Did I
worst
get that
podcast
right?
idea. This is the worst podcast idea we've ever had.
Yeah, we're not doing this again.
No, or is it actually the best?
I mean, if you guys make a deal, then it is the best.
I need the people at home to tell us, is this valuable or not? Because this just sounds like us literally what we normally do. It's been completed, ladies and gentlemen.
There it
Cheers!
is.
Cheers.
It happened. Okay, so for the listeners, this is what just happened. We had Mike acquiring Dawson Knox, DeAndre Swift, and George Pickens, and a third-round pick. And Eric gets Kyle Pitts.
I'm out. I'm over Kyle Pitts. I'm so done.
Yeah, I was trying to keep my face very neutral. Mike, I think you crushed it personally because I have given up on Kyle Pitts.
And here's the real important thing for the people at home. The best part of a trade is having your league mates bully your friend afterwards.
Correct.
But no, if Kyle Pitts is the amazing tight end that he's supposed to be, I got destroyed here. If he becomes Kyle Pitt or Travis Kelce light, that stinks. But Evan just sent in our group chat, great work, Mike. So get wrecked.
Evan, we literally been friends for like 28 years.
Yes,
This is
we
ridiculous.
have. So you should very much
Taking
know that I'm
Eric to
joking.
pound.
Taking
Incorrect.
All right.
Wow.
Who wants Deontay Johnson?
Officially the best thing we've done. No, I'm out on Deontay Johnson now.
Can I at least
All right.
defend? Can I at least defend my side of this?
Yeah.
No, stop. Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
Unreal. So, if Atlanta gets a real quarterback, or they trade or let Kyle Pitts go, and he can get to a real quarterback, Kyle Pitts is the best tight end in the league, and I have a positional advantage every single week.
It's a
long-term. It's a long-term risk on a player that could be amazing, and it also helps further push me to getting Caleb Williams.
No, I actually that was hard for me to say yes to, also because Dawson Knox is very much a short-term tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And my team it's 1-3. So I'm really hoping that this pushes me over the edge. Otherwise, I'm sitting here with 2 medium firsts that are not useful because did I trade for a first in this league yet? Yeah, I have Corey's from Pickens.
Yeah, you have my first. Yeah.
Right. And for my purposes, I don't care about Swift or Knox at all. They're not going to help my team. They're not going to help me win a chip.
Yeah.
The Pickens part was the hard part for me because I think Pickens is really, really good.
Wait, I don't even remember how
did I get your
you
first
got
in that
Pickens.
league?
I drafted him.
How did I get your first in that league? Corey, I just keep
I guess that's what I'm confused about.
I guess we'll have to figure it out. Anyway, Evan.
So Corey, that offer that I sent you.
You have 3 minutes.
Of Bryce Young in the first.
Yeah. Let's
Bryce Young in my first for Cousins and Brees.
Yeah, I can't do it. I
it's
don't
a young
Bryce
quarterback and a first-round pick for a running back coming off of an ACL tear, and a quarterback that is probably going to be on a new team next year.
Mike, you're very close to the camera. You're making me very uncomfortable.
Which player is worth which player? Because not a late first is worth Brees, and not Bryce Young is worth Kirk Cousins. The quarterback won.
Yeah, no, that's inherently wrong in any Dynasty gamer's mind. Bryce Young still is young enough, and he still has the draft capital that basically any Dynasty gamer will tell you that he's worth more than Cousins.
Well, I like scoring points. I know that's weird.
Look, what this comes down to for me is my team is still semi-competing. If I wasn't, then this would be more interesting. But I would rather have Kirk Cousins' points from this season try to compete than have to wait a year for Bryce Young.
You scored 83 points last week, Corey. That was lowest by far in the league.
Yeah, the Bengals really trashed me for sure. I'm hoping that turns around, but if it doesn't, you might be right. But I'm not willing to abandon I think honestly I could get more for the QB1 right now in Kirk Cousins. Plus, I'm selling low on Brees Hall. I mean, we know that Brees Hall is still RB3 in Dynasty, right? We're not disillusioned.
Sure, but we've also seen Kyron Williams get all the way up to RB13. So what does RB rankings even really mean at this point?
Getting existential with me. Okay.
That is the most un-Evan comment I've ever heard Evan make in my entire life. What do rankings even mean? What do statistics mean? Nothing.
What are numbers?
Who are you, Evan?
I don't know. But back to the offer that Mike sent me. Terry McLaurin, Justin Fields, and a 25 second for AJ Brown, Bryce Young, and a 24 first. Mike, you're out of your mind. And I'm pretty sure you just revoked it.
I withdrew it because I'm competing now. I don't want you to have my first. Or the other way around. Anyway, in my mind, it's Justin Fields for A.J. Brown. You need a competing quarterback now, and Justin Fields in his spike weeks is one of the best competing quarterbacks in fantasy, regardless of how you feel about him in true NFL form. Then when you look at, I got to scroll down now. Where did that go? It has disappeared now because I withdrew it. But what was the deal?
It's in the DMs. You sent
Yeah.
it. It's Justin Fields,
So-
Terry McLaurin, a
so-
25-second.
We just talked about Bryce Young, booty cheeks. Terrible. Terry McLaurin, competing piece now, who's been crushing it, other than this last week.
Give me him.
And then your late first and my early second. I don't think it's terrible.
Mike, what's your definition of crushing it? Because what I'm looking at here is a wide receiver 70, wide receiver 26, and wide receiver 47.
One more. Just go one more week.
Oh, you mean that game against the Eagles?
Yeah, where he played one of the good defenses in America. He got the wide receiver 8.
When he played one of the best run defenses in the NFL.
Anyway, it's a non-starter. I get it. That was when I was rebuilding. Now I'm competing. So eat my bubbles.
Oof,
Isn't it great, everybody, how quickly some teams just change their mind on what direction they're going? And Mike, I appreciate that. Make the decision early in the year, make your go for it, and just push all in. One way or another.
I'm a big value chaser.
Don't wait until the trade deadline to try and make all of these moves, because all the valuable assets, you get more value by going one way or another and picking a direction early in the season.
Yep.
Holy shit! There was just like a huge thunder outside. That was crazy. Sorry. Well, I mean, I think this at the very least was interesting, to have the discussion to see how, live trade negotiations go. And to Mike's point that he sort of began this whole conversation with, it's always going to depend on the discussion and how these players are viewed from the manager's perspective. And
Corey, there's one last one for you.
Oh boy, what did you do now? You son of a bitch. No. Okay, so Eric just sent me, I get Kenny Pickett, Isaiah Pacheco, who obviously I love him, and 2 seconds for Joe Burrow.
The last ranked quarterback in the NFL.
All right, everybody. So that concludes
the last ranked quarterback in the NFL.
The fact that he's hurt. All right. But the fact that you have a first round pick and instead you sent me 2 seconds is the funniest part of that trade.
You're not getting 1.01 for the last ranked quarterback in the NFL.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think he'll bounce back. If it's not this year, then it'll be next. But I know what he is. I know he's a good player. Not going to give him
if you don't
for 2 seconds and some change.
If you don't like points,
what might
fine.
help Joe Burrow do better this season is by having some W, and he should use FFRPG at checkout.
Let's go.
Hold on, I got one more from Mike. We'll end it on this.
W drop.
Mike just sent me a weird trade. This one's very strange, where I give up my top 2 running backs in Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall, and I get hurt Mike Williams, hurt Deontay Johnson, and a pair of firsts. It's very interesting because it's competing, no, but old guys, yes, but firsts, yes, but old.
Ready? The hurt receivers aren't hurting you this year in your Caleb Williams sweepstakes, as I give you back your first and my first in case Breece and Kenneth Walker flop. Then you get Mike Williams back next year, tied to Justin Herbert. You get Deontay Johnson with no Matt Canada, and you get 2 early firsts to really kick it into gear.
Yeah,
for a couple of running backs that don't have long-term security.
Early first, Mike.
He gets.
I'm pretty sure you just said that you were going to try and compete.
I'm going to try to, but it's week 4. Anything can happen. I'm already 3 losses down.
Yeah, it's weird.
There's no shot you get the 1.01, Corey.
Anyway,
no shot you get the 1.01.
tune in next week to see if Corey accepts it or not.
Yeah, that was, like I said before, very good discussion. Not going to happen tonight. Maybe Mike and I will keep going back and forth with it, but we got one trade done. That was more than I thought would happen. So congratulations, Mike, on just completely bending Eric over a barrel.
Get out of here. Incorrect.
Okay. Well, till next time, guys, thank you for enjoying the Fantasy Football RPG podcast, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Use W at checkout. Gets W.
We also got a fun outro video for you guys, so we're gonna
W.
Bye.
Bye, W.